And he honestly thought something was wrong. He thought there was something up with me and I wasn't telling anyone. I'd already pre-ordered my gravestone. So, I go to the worst wedding I've ever been to in my life, okay? My lovely lady, grew up with this lady, and they were getting married. And there's a couple of things I dislike, and that's forced friendship. So, forced friendships, you get with a lady that you're punching above your weight, she's amazing, but always stuff comes with it, friends and family that, I'm quite a eccentric, loud chap, and I can have a couple of cans of Coke and I'm gone, I can be embarrassing in quite a few situations, especially a wedding that I probably shouldn't be at because I don't really like the bride. And I'm sat at the table and I start chatting to quite literally anyone that I can speak to. My lovely lady's busy being a bridesmaid and I'm sat there talking to anyone I can basically chew their ear off. The man next to me says, hi, I'm Sam, nice to meet you. What do you do? I buy and sell weird and wonderful cars. Cool, what do you do? I'm a Freemason. I'm like, I've seen this in films. We can handshake. And he's like, no, like a stonemason. I'm a stonemason. That's what I do. I said, my whole life has aligned. He said, what do you mean? I said, right, I've got this vision, right? I'm with my girlfriend. She's blonde, 5'7". I'm punching above my weight. I got with her 10 years ago, right, from now. When I got with her, I was like, wow, just wow. We got together. We both hate kids. We're never having kids. 3 months in, pregnant, year anniversary. My son arrives. Do you know what? I'm having a sleepless night. Let's have another one. Let's get it out of the way. Let's get the sleeping nights out of the way. So we're at this wedding, and this is the craziest story because I have this feeling that at some point in my life, one of my crazy mistakes or decisions I make will end up with me being dead, okay? Through me being in my mate's car that's going too fast, or through me doing donuts in a Ferrari F40 and taking out a petrol pump. Something crazy one day will happen, and my beautiful lady will find her way into another life, who's going to look after my children and be there for my family. And although, as a gentleman growing up, going to church, that kind of stuff, I always kind of thought that a gravestone is an amazing thing. Okay, because whether you're a nice man or a bad person or a headache or just someone that never even existed in entirety, no one really knew who you were, that gravestone gave you some presence, right? You were there on this ground, on this earth at some point in your life, and that gravestone says that, yeah? And I said, have you ever had gravestones where you make mistakes? He went, all the time. He said, we engrave gravestones and we make mistakes. I went, cool. If you ever get anyone fancy, like a lord or a major or something, put it aside. And he went, are you serious? I went, 100%. So I said, do you ever get anything? He went, yeah, we get stuff now and again. And the conversation went dry. About 3 weeks later, I got a phone call and he's like, hey, do you sell cars? I said, yes, I sell all cars. He went, cool. I'm after a Ford KA. And that's quite literally one of my favourite cars in the world because when I got with my lovely lady, I had a BMW 1 Series and I was the man, okay? I was cruising the streets in my black 1 Series. I felt like a big dog. I know I'm a small fry in a big world, but I felt pretty happy. My leather seats, heated seats. I'm enjoying life. I got my girlfriend and she's got a 1998 Ford KA. And for most people that don't know what a Ford KA is, it's quite literally the smallest car Ford have ever made. 2 doors, little monocoque chassis, 1.3 engine, goes on forever. But you're lucky enough to get one with heated seats and aircon, you've got something going well. He says, I'm after a little car. I said, well, I've got this little Ford KA. He goes, how much do you want for it? I was like, £800. No worries. Or have you got a gravestone? He said, joking aside, I was speaking to the lead mason and this place is next to the biggest church in Portsmouth, right? And I can't tell you what stonemason it is because I've taken a gravestone which was supposed to be discarded of Lord McCormick, okay? But when Lord McCormick, the word is pronounced or spelt, it's Lord MCC. So a large M, then a little c, then a big C. And they spelt it with 2 large C's. And he said, it's spelt wrong and it's out the back. I said, okay, so I'll do you a deal, right? I will give you this Ford KA, but I want in your own time to re-engrave this recycled gravestone, right? Because at some point in my life, I'm going to need something to remind my children and my ex-lady, right, that I was once pretty cool, yeah? So once a year, my girlfriend's new partner is going to have to take my children to a gravestone to remind just how funny I was back in the day, right? So I've had this gravestone written, Samuel Hard, 22nd of December 1987, still saving money 6 foot under, right? And it's got my date and a dash and that, and it says still saving money 6 foot under, and it is engraved and it is in the boot of a car at my garage. And one day when I flat pack, whether it's now or when I'm 90, that will go. Even if I get cremated, they're going to be cremated in front of whatever's cheapest for my lady, because, you know, I'm hard up and I spend money on cars, not on my lady, which is probably going to be inevitable if we get lent against the garage somewhere and be iconic of this story. So when I went to pick it up, I went in the Ford KA, right? Because I want to show him the car, make sure he was happy with the car. And I put it in the back of the car and the suspension hit the bump stops, like, dum, that. And I wrapped it up in like this beautiful cloth that I took with me. It was like an old duvet, like a dog bed or whatever. And I wrapped it up, and my dad, I didn't tell him anything about it. So the weirdest thing ever was when the car, I was doing the deal, so I brought the gravestone back, left it in the car, and the next day I was out filming at Goodwood Revival. And I said, Dad, can you do me a favour? Can you deliver the Ford KA over to Portsmouth for me, to the crematorium? He said, yeah, no worries. So make sure you get the box out the back. No worries. He phoned me in tears. He's like, is everything all right? You know, what's going on? I was like, no, Dad, just, I'm punching above my weight and I want the new boyfriend one day to know that I still existed. You know, he's got to be constantly reminded that I was once an entirety in the NAS Charger world. And he honestly thought something was wrong. He thought there was something up with me and I wasn't telling anyone. I'd already pre-ordered my gravestone. But it was quite amazing because he said, yeah, no worries. He said, we bin these. And it was solid black granite. And he did it with the gold leaf laid into it. It is stunning, right? But it's just this realization that one day one of these silly decisions I make will end up with me inevitably in the ground. And my lovely lady and her new boyfriend will have to go to that gravestone every year. And my kids will be like, my dad was funny.
We'd like to thank Auto Tempest for their support of this month's videos on VINwiki. Auto Tempest is the best place to find your next car. Whether it's your dream car or your next project, anything you want to look for, it's the most powerful tool to search all the major listing sites at the same time. They give you much more specific search criteria. They are the supporter of Car Trek, and we cannot thank them enough for that, but this is now their 4th year of sponsoring the VINwiki channel. So be sure to thank them now by checking out the link in the description below to search for your next car. Autotempest.com, all the cars, one search.